Hi guys, hope you're all okay. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me today for another video. So those of you who watch this channel regularly will know that it's mainly about radio, but I'm interested in all aspects of communication, and I've got quite a few videos coming up on some of the old mobile phones that ran on ETACS networks, some bits of GSM. I've got a full set of Rabbit handsets here and base stations which I need to show you at some point. So I just thought I'd dig out a couple of these phones and just do a couple of videos on them and see if they go down well. So what I've got to show you today is a couple of RAC ET phones. So ET I think stands for emergency telephones. There isn't much online about these, but these originated in the early 1990s. I want to say around 1992, and basically if you were subscribed to the RAC at the time, to the top tier of cover, for those who don't know what RAC is, it's a breakdown company here in the UK. So you break down, you give them a call and they come and rescue you. So if you were subscribed to their top level of cover, you were given one of these ET phones. So what this was a mobile emergency phone that basically ran on the ETACS network, which was the old analog network on Cellnet, and you'd keep this in the boot of your car, and should you break down, you had a mobile phone there ready, which you could which had a battery pack or plugged into a 12-volt cigarette lighter, and you could basically phone the emergency services. So it had a dedicated 999 button, or phone the RAC, and it had a dedicated button programmed for that as well. So basically like a speed dial to the RAC, and then they would then come and rescue you. So they come in these really nice bags with the RAC logo on the front there, and a handle, and you can see the antenna sticks out the side here. I'm going to show you the phone in more detail, but this would basically sit in the boot of your car. And the reason why a lot of these, despite their age, are in such good nick is because they spent their lives in people's cars, and then when they were redundant, they probably just were stored in a garage, or in the bottom of a cupboard. So I've got two here that are in near mint condition. This one, the bag's got a little bit of fraying on it where it looks like it's rubbed away at something in the boot of the car over time with just the vibration. And this one here's got a broken antenna connector. But for their age, they are in really good nick, which you'll see inside. So this one inside has a manual. As you can see, the bag opens up there. We've got a manual here, and this is an RAC Cellnet manual, which just basically gives you information on how to make and receive calls, getting the most from your mobile phones. It just goes through some of the features and settings of these mobile phones. You can record announcements on it. Now, looking at this, I'm not sure all these settings actually apply to these phones. I think this was sort of a generic manual that was given out to RAC customers for a whole multitude of phones on the Cellnet network, but it gives you some indication here of how to listen to messages, and just some other options and things like that. You can have a pin lock on this. You can switch call back on and off. It just gives you some other Cellnet services there, like emergency, the Cellnet operator and things like that. And then at the back it gives you some useful numbers. So it gives you the British Rail numbers for stations in London, Midlands and East Anglia, North of England, Scotland, South of England, Wales. Gives you airports, car hire companies, and then you can see it's got a personal directory at the back, and I've actually blurred out some of the names in here because it still had names and addresses, and even though this is not from 1992-ish, they could still live in those places, so I just kept that private. And then on the back there, isn't there room in your life for Cellnet? So yeah, these are pretty revolutionary at the time, because not a lot of people, or a lot of people couldn't afford mobile phones, and the technology was although it had been pretty well established, it was still quite expensive. So to get one of these and have it in the back of your car was quite a luxury, but on the other hand, a novelty. And then in the front of the little pouch here, we've got the antenna, which has got a join in it, and that basically just screws into the side of the transceiver unit here. And that's all you would do. Screw the antenna into the side, and it did have a little catch on the side here for locking that into place. And of course then you've got your power cable, so you plug this into your car and you're ready to go. But what we'll do is we'll bring the camera in, and we'll have a bit of a closer look inside this. We'll look at the transceiver unit and all the bits and pieces you got inside the bag. Okay, so this is a closer look at the bag that the phone actually comes in, and you can see I've already plugged it into the power supply here. We've got a 12 volt power supply with a cigarette adapter there, and that's all you have to do in the car, just plug it in, and it was pretty much good to go. You can see I've got the antenna screwed on the side here, and there's a little catch there, a little Velcro catch for that to hook around, just to keep that safe, to stop it from being damaged or broken. Now, ironically, my other one of these phones is actually broken, but antenna looked like it had been snapped off. But basically we've got the little manual in here. These actually came with more documentation than this, but I've not actually got it. It didn't come with my phones, unfortunately. And the antenna, when it's not being used, will just slot into here as well, just to keep it safe. And you can see, given the age of this thing, it's in pretty decent nick, not bad condition at all. And if we pull the handset out, now this one is locked, and I can't remember if the other one that I've got here is locked as well. So if this one is, we'll check the other one. These basically had a passcode on them, and it was a 3-digit passcode between 000 and 999, and I've not yet sat down and gone through them all to try and unlock it. But from what I can gather from other bits of information on these, there isn't really any settings in these phones. All you have is the keypad to dial, so you would put your number in and then send, or you would press the RAC or the 999 buttons there. There isn't actually any settings to go through. These are already pre-programmed by Motorola on behalf of the RAC, just so they're used as a basic phone. So yeah, this is the handset itself. As you can see, it's a really chunky, big handset there. If we actually compare it to like an iPhone, you can see there's quite a big difference with what you actually get in the iPhone compared to what you get with this device. But for the time, this was quite revolutionary, and this was sort of the norm. So yeah, if we power this on, okay, you can see we've got the RAC logo there, and you can see it was on Cellnet, and of course now it's locked, unfortunately, which means I can't get into it. But like I say, there is no settings to go into there. That's the basic handset. So what you do is dial your number and press send, or you would press the RAC button and send to dial the RAC, or 999 and send to dial emergency services. Really straightforward. So you can see there behind this little flap, we've got some cable here for the power lead. So it would give you a little bit of distance from the car. So if you had no signal in the car, you could just stand outside the car, and there was enough cord there to allow you to do that. And if we just have a look under here, we can actually get out we've got a battery there, and the transceiver unit. So this is the transceiver unit here. So you can see it's quite big, and basically we've got the battery as well there. Now this battery is in really good condition. It's a 12 volt 2.3 amp hour battery, which would have powered this phone for a few hours, and it just basically plugs in like so. So basically, while this is plugged into the cigarette lighter, it will be charging the device. Now it'll be interesting to see if it has actually got any charge left in it. I'm not expecting it to. So if we unplug the power here, I'll just switch the power supply off. No. Yeah, we've lost power, which is what I would expect. But yeah, this is a nice little unit. So as I say, we've got the battery here, which just plugs and unplugs like so, and then on the top you can see where the handset plugs into place, and then we've got an adapter here which actually unscrews. To release a transceiver unit. So that was what a lot of these old phones were made up of: a transceiver unit, a battery unit, and of course the handset with the antenna. Now, I've no doubt that Motorola would have produced these phones not for the RAC, so just as a normal handset on a pretty similar design. In fact, I have seen one. If I can find the picture, I'll dig it out, of the basic bag phone, which is identical to this, just not an RAC one, and of course it has all the functions of the RAC phone. So yeah, you would never need to have actually taken this out of the bag though when you're using it, and it's quite straightforward to put back in, despite the difficulty getting it out. So what you would do is on the bottom here, that little flap, you would just put your transceiver unit. In fact, what we'd do is plug in the power supply first, and then what you would do is you'd put your transceiver unit in there under the flap. Make sure the antenna is coming out of the hole at the side, and you would wrap this piece over here like so, and that would stick down to the bottom of the bag. And then what you would do is you put your battery in, so you would actually plug that in place, and that would just go in there like that. And then that will just fold underneath. So you can see we've got the transceiver unit and the battery in there, and then that piece will just velcro down on the bottom like so. And the headset, which I actually forgot to plug in first, will just clip into place and slot into there, and then the power lead will just go behind here. And then the antenna will go inside. And you close the cover like so. Okay, so we have got a second unit here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test and see if this one is locked. There we go. So you can see this one isn't actually locked. This one is, you can see it said non-standard on the screen there. I think that's because it's been programmed by Motorola in a non-standard way, i.e. a lot of the functions have been taken out of it. Is it telling me to charge it up there? There you go. So you can see we can dial a number in there. We've got the volume button on the side. We send that. Don't know if you can hear that noise. That means there's just no service. If we dial the RAC number there and send, you can hear the noise, but that would have dialed the RAC. So yeah, you can see that this handset's not in as good condition. There's a couple of bits of rust on the screws there, but overall it's not bad at all really, and it does function in the exact same way as the other one. It's got the battery inside there, it's got the transceiver unit. The only problem with this one is that the antenna actually came with no rubber sleeve on it, so I just sort of fashioned one out of heat shrink tubing just to make it look a bit more original. But unfortunately with this one, the metal connector on the sides actually broke, so this doesn't screw on, unfortunately, but you get the idea anyway. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was only a short one, but I'm just really interested and quite passionate about older mobile phones, especially the old ETACS stuff and things like that, and I've got plenty more behind here to show you. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know and I'll by all means show you some more of the phones. I've got quite a few of the AA version of this phone as well, which I'll show you. I've got 3 or 4 different ones of those. Well, they're the same, but 3 or 4 versions of that. So let me know if you want to see them. If you owned one of these, drop me a comment in the box below. Let me know, did you ever use it? And other than that, I think I'll leave this one here. Any comments, suggestions, questions, drop them in the box below, I'll get back to you. If you enjoyed this video, then click the like button, and if you haven't already subscribed, then make sure you subscribe, and my social media links are all in the description below for Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. And we'll leave that one there. 7-3 guys, thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.